What's going on, people? It's your boy, Boxing Lowdown here, man. And look, I know what you guys are probably thinking. You're probably thinking, right, it's Thursday. Where's Laurie? Laurie ain't here. What you got Ade on for? But listen, man, we're bringing something different today. For those of you, Laurie will be on the show tomorrow. We will be doing a live podcast tomorrow. Unfortunately, his schedule just got a bit ahead of him today. But what better co-host could I get than this guy right here, man? What better co-host could I get? So, Ade, great to have you on, brother. And I'm looking forward to chopping it up with you tonight, man.
Hey, bruv, look, really appreciate it. It's funny because I was on social media, bored, and I saw your tweet saying this thing's cancelled. I was like, what? Thing ain't cancelled. I'm coming in. I'm substituting in for your co-host. And look, me and you've been speaking for a while about doing some bits. We've obviously done some bits together. I've got you on Talk Sport and you know your stuff. So look, for me, it's an honor to come on. Your channel's getting there. I see the subscribers growing and growing and growing. So well done on the effort you've done. And I'm looking forward to chopping this up with you, man. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, bro. Like already, I'm sure you've seen a few of our shows before, like myself and Laurie. And like as it's live, you know, I'll go through the comments as I can, and we'll read them out, man. And then we'll just chop it up. So let's just get straight into it, man. Big up everybody in the chat first of all. Don't forget to like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I know Ade's very kindly put this link on his channel as well. So we're going to get a few more people in here today. So big up to every one of you, man. Big up to every one of you, and let's get it on. People in the comments already. Green Machine, first in. Ian Hamilton has put here, oh yes, my two favorite boxing YouTubers. Got the popcorn ready.
Ian, you know. Ian's in the building, you know.
Ian's in the building, bro.
Ian's a good guy. Ian's a good guy.
Big up everybody. Haydar's in here. Tiz, Harvey. Big up everybody, man. IB has put here. Where's Laurie? Listen, IB. Laurie will be back tomorrow.
I'm sorry.
He'll be back tomorrow, IB. We're gonna do a podcast tomorrow. But listen, I thought let's do another one tonight, man. Ade's very kindly stepped in. So let's get straight into it, man. Ade, it's been a while since we've actually chopped it up with this boxing talk, man. I know you're obviously doing great things over on your channel and on Sky Sports as well. But it's been a while since we've actually just spoke boxing live.
Very true.
And let's just get straight into it, man. Josh Taylor, the new undisputed light welterweight champion, the king of 140 pounds, certified. All four of the belts. Britain's first four-belt undisputed champion. Going into this fight, now I know obviously I've seen your shows on your channel, but for those of you that haven't on this channel that haven't seen, just let them know what you thought about this particular fight going in, and how did your prediction go for it, and what did you think of the fight in general?
Look, I thought it was going to be close. If I'm honest with you, look, I had Raps and G-Man on my channel, I think about a week ago in the lead up to the fight, and I was like, you know, this is going to be close. I think G-Man said it was going to be a split decision. Raps said that Josh would win it by a couple. I said something similar as well, that Josh would win it by a couple. And in the end, it was a couple. I do think the scorecards didn't necessarily reflect the fight. I didn't have it 114, 112 across the board. I had Josh by a couple more than that. Plus, if you add in the knockdowns as well. So, look, I thought it was a complete performance from Josh. I think he looked really good. His feet looked good. He knew when to engage. He knew when to hold. And look, I hate when fighters fight off the ropes, but he knew how to fight off the ropes as well. He's sitting on his punches a bit more now, which got a little bit more spite in them. So, you know, the shots he were landing were hurting Ramirez. But look, let's give Ramirez some credit as well. It takes two to tango. Ramirez to get up from both knockdowns, although, by the way, I mean, the counts are ridiculously long, but for him to even get up, regardless, you've got to give him credit. I mean, it's that tough Mexican spirit he had, was able to get up and go all the way to 12. So a lot of credit to him, but a lot of credit to Josh as well. Josh is going away from home. It's never going to be easy. The judges are going to fuck you, pardon my French, as we know they do, not just over in America, they do it everywhere, right? They do it over here now, they do it in Germany. And I just think it's almost a travesty that this hasn't been sort of spoken about more. Josh Taylor is an unbeaten all the belts, all the marbles champion. And I feel like he hasn't got enough plaudits from mainstream media. It's crazy, right? I mean, you get some guys win one belt and everyone goes crazy. He has 4 plus the Ring Magazine belt. I mean, look, they should be knighting him. It's ridiculous. What he's done is incredible for boxing. There isn't, you know, you say like he's the second Brit to do it. There aren't many boxers in the history of the sport that have done it. It's incredible what he's done. So look, credit to Josh. He's done it the hard way, no ducking. And right now, I think the world's his oyster. Whether or not it's a fight against Catterall or big money fights in America, right now, is where he starts making his name and starts cashing those checks.
Let's keep it 100 on him, man. Why do you think he is underappreciated? I mean, Green Machine's left a comment here, and he's totally bang on. He's put Josh Taylor is way underappreciated, and the lack of UK mainstream coverage is sickening. He is a big draw. Now, I'm going to be real and be honest with you, Ade. When Josh Taylor first crept on the scene, I wasn't his biggest fan. I'm not going to lie to you. I wasn't his biggest fan, but like,
Why not?
I don't know. I think for me, it was just like, I just didn't gravitate towards him. Nothing personal. Like, obviously, nothing personal against any of these fighters, but I just didn't gravitate towards him. He seemed a bit bitty to me. There was like a few. Obviously, there was the instance with that nightclub incident with that bouncer, for example. But I've always admired him as a fighter. I mean, this guy has had 18 fights now, and look at the role of champions that he's beaten. His last 4-5 opponents, 85-0. You know, and he's made me turn into just more than a fan now. You know, I've always respected him, but now I'm actually a big fan of his. And like, he's won me over, and I just think, why is he not that sort of superstar in the UK? What is it? Why not? Why didn't any of the UK broadcasters pick it up? I saw his interview with TalkSport, and he said that, you know, like, their Sky are picking up Floyd Mayweather and Logan Paul. And look, Floyd Mayweather is a superstar. We know this. Logan Paul is a big YouTuber. We know about the Paul there. But like you've just said there, undisputed champion, 4 belts, you know, British undisputed champion, man. Look what he's done in his career. Great amateur career as well. Why is he not celebrated enough? Like, why do you think he wasn't put onto the mainstream? Like, not even BT picked up.
Yeah, that's incredible. I mean, look, for someone that works for one of the big broadcasters, they're all about their money. If they don't think that this fight's going to generate income for them, they're just not going to show it. I mean, I know Josh was upset about Floyd versus Logan Paul. They're all about their pound notes, right? Floyd versus Logan Paul is going to make the money. And that's horrible to say, but that's the case. I don't know how much it would have cost for Sky to broadcast it, but they're thinking, look, there's an accountant behind the scenes. There isn't a boxing fan behind the scenes. There's an accountant. And that accountant will simply look at X's and O's and say, okay, Josh Taylor's fighting at 4 a.m. in Las Vegas. How many people are going to stay up and watch that at 4 a.m.? Are we going to make our money back? And they're probably thinking not. If they thought this fight could make millions, they would be in the Josh Taylor business. It's that simple. If they don't think it's going to make money, they're not going to be in the Josh Taylor business. I'm shocked that someone like Channel 5 didn't pick it up. I mean, Channel 5 picked up Carl Frampton versus Jamel Herring in a tent in the Middle East. It wasn't a tent, right? It was awful. It was in a tent. And I remember Josh Taylor being in the studio for that. And I was thinking, okay, maybe there's something going on there. Josh Taylor was in the studio with Steve Bunce and Jeanette Quachi. And I'm thinking, okay, something's happening here. But no, nothing happened. And also, let's not forget as well that there are only 2 big promoters in this country, right? I mean, in fact, there's one and then there's Frank. You know what I mean? There's Eddie and then there's Frank. And Frank's really dropped off a lot. If you're not with either of those 2 guys, then, I mean, how much promotion can you expect to get? It's going to be difficult. I mean, let's be honest. If he was with Eddie, and let's not forget, one of his fights was on Matchroom, the one against Regis Prograis, right? In the World Boxing Super Series. That was on Sky. That actually done quite well in terms of eyes and viewership. So I'm shocked he didn't try and do something with Eddie. It's not all about Eddie. I know people hate that, but Eddie is the biggest boxing promoter out here. Eddie would have pushed that fight a lot more as well. So I don't know, man. It's disappointing, but I think it's the last time that we don't see one of these big fights on a broadcaster. So that's the thing. I know he's upset now, but now it's a case of, okay, now my value's gone up and now I will be on a broadcast, whether that be BT, Sky, or even maybe BBC Scotland. Someone will start picking up these fights now.
Has to.
Yeah, has
and
to.
It's not like his fights aren't entertaining either. I mean, the guy's in entertaining fights. He's a spitey character, you know, like at the weigh-in. Yeah, and I'm not sure about you, but I love that stuff, man. I'm not gonna lie.
Sold. I'm all sold for it. And look, as much as we criticize the broadcasters over here, and we have a right to, the biggest broadcaster in the world is ESPN. By some margin. ESPN swallows Sky. ESPN swallows BT Sports. What did ESPN do to promote this fight? They're the biggest. They didn't do anything to promote it either. So that's how much little interest they really had in it as well. I mean, for hardcore boxing fans, yes, we say, okay, it's an undisputed, it's unification. They don't look at things like that. They look at things like, okay, is it bigger than college basketball? Is it bigger than the NBA, college NFL? No, we're not giving it any eyes. They didn't promote it at all. So I think everyone really should look at themselves. And I think everyone will now, because the guy speaks well, he boxes beautiful, and look, I just love his character. And I think this, like I said, I think it's the last time that broadcasters almost dismiss him. I think that's it now. I think now he's a superstar from now. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, some people get there easy. Some people take long to get there. He's just gone the long way around.
Better late than never, I suppose, man. But if we talk about the actual fight itself, now, for me, this bubbled up from the first round. I mean, from the first round, I was on the edge of my seat, like, okay, shit, man, this is warming up. Like, there was no feeling out process. These two guys in their prime, going for it, undefeated fighters, expecting to win. And it's everything that you want to see in a high-class world championship fight. And they really did put it on the line from the first round onwards. But your thoughts on the fight, man, because during the fight, very good for me. I thought Josh Taylor, I thought that Ramirez was getting into it from the third round onwards.
Yeah.
You know, he was starting to hurt Josh with some of those body shots, but Josh Taylor really stepped up, especially in the 6th and 7th rounds. Give me your thoughts on that and your thoughts on Kenny Bayless, because for me, that was one of the worst performances from a referee I've seen in a while, man. And there's been a few. Let's just say that. But Kenny Bayless was terrible.
Yeah, I'm going to start backwards. Kenny Bayless, look, you know, I'm like when I'm on this green chair, I'll say it how it is. Kenny Bayless almost reffed that fight like he's on the take. Yeah. It was actually criminal what he did. I mean, look, I get it. You know, you give a fighter time to get up, and then you tell the other guy to go to the corner. I counted the first knockdown, and Ramirez had at least 18 seconds. The second knockdown, he had like 24 seconds to recover. I mean, 24 is just, what else can you say apart from corruption? Because I can't say Kenny Bayless is inept. He's the biggest name referee in the world. He's refereed more world title fights than I've had dinners. This guy literally is the man. So I can't say it's inexperienced or he doesn't know what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. He knows he's given time for Ramirez to cover. And I think, look, we've got our own dodgy referees over here. So we're not ones to kind of throw a stone when, you know, what we've got over here is there. But I don't know, man. I think Kenny Bayless was a bit of a disgrace in that fight. And I think Josh Taylor has come out and said, look, he had to fight the ref, he had to fight the judges, and he's also fighting Ramirez. So, look, it was always going to be difficult. On the fight itself, Ramirez was always going to start fast. That's what he does. If you watch his fight against Hooker, that's exactly how he fights. He puts it on you very, very quickly. He loves the body shots. And Josh was hurt. Josh had to cover up. Josh has this really good poker face. A couple of those body shots stung him.
Yeah,
and that's why he started fighting on the back foot a bit. He's like, okay, I'm not going to go set in the ring with this guy. I'm going to start fighting on the back foot. That knockdown, the first knockdown, completely changed the fight. And after that, Josh was always in a fight, but I always felt like he was comfortable and he had a couple more gears to go. Josh Taylor's a special fighter, by the way.
Yeah.
And look, we don't like to give our Brits too much plaudits because we're nervous, because when they go on the world scene, they get exposed. Josh is a legit fucking fighter who can do a bit of everything. So I'm proud of Josh, proud of the performance. Again, away from home against an unbeaten fighter, a fighter that's done his own work to clear up that side of the 140 division. It's never going to be easy to become undisputed, but Josh kind of made it look easy that night. It was harder against Prograis and Victor Postal than it was against Ramirez.
Yeah, I thought after the knockdowns, personally, I thought that it was pretty much, I wouldn't say complete cruise control, but he, like you said, he could have stepped up a couple of gears, and I think he knew that he kind of had this. But the scorecards, man, were very, like, you know, if he didn't score those knockdowns, I think even if he didn't score one of those knockdowns, if he had one of them and he didn't score the other one, he would have lost it.
Dude, it would either have lost or would have been a draw. And again, look, this is difficult because we've seen some dodgy. I mean, I remember Lewis Ritson got some dodgy scorecard over here. So we've seen some dodgy ones. So again, we're not ones to talk because the Brits are disgraceful right now when it comes to scorecards. Hence why no one wants to come over here and fight. So look, we know how difficult it is to get a win away from home, which makes the performance even better. Yeah. So, you know, as much as Josh Taylor's upset about the scorecards, it doesn't matter. As long as the right person wins, I'm not too bothered. It's when the right person doesn't win. That's when I have a big issue. But who cares? In years to come, no one's ever going to remember it was 114, 112. All they're going to remember is that Josh Taylor went to America and beat an unbeaten Ramirez and captured every single belt. And in my eyes, stepped into that pound for pound, top 6, top 7 discussion. That's solid for a Brit.
Yeah, and I saw the Ring Magazine's pound for pound. Obviously, it's all very subjective. We know that. Yeah. I mean, we all have our lists. The Ring Magazine have got him as number 5 right now. I've seen quite a few comments on here. Apologies, I can't reply to all of them, but I'll flash them up when I can. But I've seen quite a few comments here stating that Josh Taylor's run at 140 pounds was better than Terence Crawford's. Now, it's something to talk about. Terence Crawford, unbelievable fighter. For Laurie, who's on the, my co-host, he says that Terence Crawford is number one, regardless. He says he can't put Canelo up there for obvious reasons. But Crawford, I mean, when you look at Taylor's resume at 140 pounds, I'm not saying he's a better fighter than Crawford.
No, he's not.
The resume is, you have to say, he went through a much harder route than Crawford did.
Yeah, look, there's no two ways about it. Look, his resume is better than Crawford's. Like, I mean, Crawford, with all due respect, fought Julius Ndongo. Do you know what I mean? And when Julius Ndongo went to Russia, got a win, then beat Ricky Burns. I mean, it's not Terence Crawford's fault, but Terence Crawford can only beat what's in front of him. But yeah, you can't even compare the resumes at 140 pounds. Josh Taylor's is much better. Look, Baranchik, unbeaten when he fought him for the IBF title. Victor Postol only lost once. Regis Prograis was unbeaten. Ramirez unbeaten. I mean, that's ridiculous. You know what I mean? And then if you want to chuck Kong Song in there, who he fought, you know what I mean? But he was unbeaten, right?
He was unbeaten.
He was unbeaten. Ryan Martin, who he beat, American, unbeaten. I mean, so that's scary. I think it's like 134-1. His opponents, that his last 5 opponents. That's ridiculous.
Man. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
But all the talk about Terence Crawford, I'm with Laurie. Terence Crawford is. They asked Canelo in the lead up to the Billy Joe Saunders fight, if you're not pound for pound number one, who is? Who did Canelo say? Crawford.
Yeah.
So boxers recognize boxers. Crawford might not have the resume, but he's a phenomenally good fighter. Yeah. I'm a massive, massive Kell Brook fan. He went from gear 1 to 4 on Kell Brook, and Kell Brook didn't know what the hell was going on. Yeah. Well, what's happened? Like,
even I was like, shit, what happened there?
Yeah, well, I was like, can someone rewind that punch? What did he catch him with? Like a little Bruce Lee 1-inch punch. Crawford ain't a joke, but look, the resume's thin. No doubt the resume's thin, but Crawford, real deal. Well,
listen, Ade, man, they're talking about it like it's out there. And to be fair to Josh Taylor, he has said after the fight, literally, like he's still sweaty, he's still, you know what I mean, from that fight. And the microphone shoved in his face. Oh, who do you want next? Because that's what reporters do. Yeah. And respectfully, he said that he'd happily move up to 147 pounds and challenge Terence Crawford. Now, for me, that's Drake. That's scary hours. That's some serious business for me.
That's like some X-rated movie business, blood. That's dangerous.
Yeah,
that's
not
dangerous.
Not only for the fact that it's a quality fight between 2 unbeaten, undisputed champions, but it's like both of these guys have got a mean streak in them. They're both nasty. Do you know what I mean? Like, and Josh Taylor was very respectful. You can tell there's respect there between the two. But for you, would you like to see him do that now? I mean, Crawford, shamefully, is not being promoted properly by Top Rank, man. I mean, I've seen some comments in here saying, what do you think of Crawford and Top Rank? But for me, Crawford not being pushed enough, his own promoter criticizing him. He hasn't got a fight lined up. Errol Spence nicked the Pacquiao fight under the radar, they did. So Crawford's literally on the outside looking in. There could be a potential big fight here with Josh Taylor moving up to fight him. If you're Josh Taylor's manager, if you're part of MTK or you represent Josh, would you advise him to go up there and fight Crawford now? Or would you say maybe one more fight? I know they're talking about Catterall. Would you say maybe one more fight and then go after Crawford? Like, well, what do you think? Because that fight is available now.
Yeah, no, look, it's available now. I wouldn't, but I can understand why Josh wants it. Why would you not want it, right? It's Josh is already moving into that stage now where he's looking at legacy fights, which is crazy, considering that he's only had 18 matchups. But I think there's still a lot of work he can do at 140. And not just work, but I think there's a lot of big money fights at 140 as well. I mean, there's talk about Teofimo Lopez. It's an easy fight to make, both of them under Top Rank right now. Well, Teofimo not for much longer, but both of them under Top Rank. So Teofimo would happily go up to 130, 140. I mean, we probably all saw the images of Teofimo standing next to Conor Benn, who's a 147 pounder. They look exactly the same. So Teo at 140 is not a problem. Then there's Javante Davis, who's got a fight against Barrios, who's at 140. Then there's Adrian Broner, who says he wants to make down 140. Then there's Mikey Garcia, who says he wants to come down to 140. So there's a lot of big money fights at 140 and good work at 140 before he thinks of going up to 147. Look, if he's struggling at the 140 weight, then go up. But if he can make 140 comfortably, then, I mean, surely you want to hang around for Teofimo. That's a big, big fight. It's a big, big fight. Or Broner. Like, he would easily beat Broner. But Broner adds that name value to the whole thing. Broner will promote it. Look, I don't know if it can happen. I'm just speaking figuratively because Broner's obviously on the other side of the road. But Broner can promote the fight. It's an easy fight to make. Broner would love to be undisputed. would love to be undisputed, all those belts, everything.
Can you imagine? Yeah.
Broner will take it. You know what Broner's like? Oh, I'll beat that white boy. You know the way Broner acts. I'll fight him. So I think there's work for him at 140 first before 147. But I can understand why you'd call that Crawford. Why would you not call that Crawford?
Seen a few people here in the comments, Ian Hamilton as well. Seen a few people here, WM, saying that they'd like to see Taylor against Lopez, Teofimo Lopez. Now that would be another one, wouldn't it?
It's a beautiful fight. I mean, Taylor, so Teofimo is pretty much undisputed at 135. Obviously, Devin Haney's got the belt that was emailed to him. But to me, when you beat Loma, you're the king of 135. So the idea of a king going up at 135 to challenge a king at 140, it's a fantastic fight. Honestly, it's an absolutely fantastic fight. So I would be all over Teofimo Lopez. I would prefer to see that than him versus Crawford. This is no disrespect to Taylor, but I like Taylor, but I think there are levels to this. And I personally think Crawford's just it's a whole nother level for me. I think Crawford beats Spence. So that's that's how high I rate Crawford. So for me, it's a whole nother level fighting Crawford. Whole nother level.
Yeah. And I think for me, I personally think that I remember during the fight, I can't lie about it now just because Taylor's won. But during that fight, I was saying to you text your friends and whatever during the fight and stuff. I was saying look, I wouldn't put Josh Taylor in there with Crawford, man. Even if he wins this, not yet. Not yet anyway. I know some people would like to see it. And hey, I'd like to see it, man. And fair play. If he lost, you've got nothing to lose, really. I mean, you have the respect of every single boxing fan out there for making that fight happen. So, but for me personally, I'd rather see him in with a Lopez or someone else than a Crawford now, because I don't think he's ready for Crawford yet.
Yeah, I mean, look, why do it yet? Look, we as fight fans are greedy, right? We want it all now, and I get that. Take it now, but nah. I'm telling you now, it's just not. It's not a good fight for him, not yet. I mean, I think there are good wins over Postal, good wins over Ramirez, a good win over Prograde. That's not Crawford, Yeah, that's not Crawford. Crawford, in many people's eyes, is the number 2, number 3 pound for pounder, unbeaten, free weight world champion. Ain't a joke. It really ain't a joke with this kid. Josh Taylor's got a mean streak, but Crawford's one of those people that when he gets mean quickly. Not yet. Leave that kid for Omaha, Nebraska alone, and then take on Teofimo, Javonte, and other guys. Jack Catterall. Make your money before you go and get beat, and he will get beat for me in my eyes by Terence Crawford. Don't go there, not yet.
Last question on Josh Taylor before we move on, bro. Okay, so we know the Crawford fight. You wouldn't fancy that for Josh Taylor. 140 and below. Is there anyone that you see beating Josh Taylor? Can you see Teofimo Lopez? Can you see anyone else beating him at 140 pounds? Anybody?
Yeah, certainly. I really can. Yeah. I mean, look, I think Teofimo is special. I mean, I was very much in the Loma bandwagon. Oh, Loma's going to do this to Teo. Loma's going to do that. I mean, the way in which Teofimo put on that performance against Loma and the way I expect him to put on a performance against Cambasos, Teofimo's strong, he's fast, he's aggressive, and even more than that right now, he's confident. He now knows, I beat the man that everyone said I couldn't beat. His confidence is through the roof. And again, he's not undersized. Again, I saw that video of him versus Conor Ben, the little head-to-head they did. He's a big guy. So look, I wouldn't favor, but I would give Teofimo a very, very good chance of winning. I mean, even the Prograde fight, if that fight happens in America, a lot of people think Prograde won that fight. So that's a tough fight as well. Again, I thought he beat Prograde. By a round or two, but I can understand if that, look what we did with the Ramirez scorecards. If that fight's in America, Prograde wins. Yeah. Prograde wants to rematch as well. So look, he's not unbeatable at 140. I don't look at him like a Canelo at 168 or anything like that, but there are some good fights for him before he even thinks about 147. 147, even guys like Ugas, Ennis Boots, Virgil Ortiz. Forget the Spence and Crawford. The guys below that are still quite dangerous. Everyone's writing off people like Sean Porter and Danny Garcia. These are legit good guys. Yeah. These are very, very good fighters. So 147 is no joke, people. No joke at all.
No joke, man. And listen, shout out to Josh Taylor, man. Yeah, fantastic performance and undisputed 18 fights, man. Nobody can argue with that resume. Nobody can argue with anything, man. You deserve all the props that you get. Trust me. Got a comment here from WM. He's put here, still gutted that AJ versus Fury fell through. As a nice way to segue into this, because like I said, we ain't chopped it up for boxing in a while, man. So all of this drama that's been going on over the last couple of weeks, the Twitter beef, the fight falling through, AJ versus Fury not happening now. Wilder versus Fury 3 happening now. I don't even know where to start, bro. But all I'll just say is your thoughts on this fight falling through. Was you surprised? Was you getting apprehensive at the time? Because, you know, it was like next week, we got an announcement next week. And then all the weeks started to go by. We still had nothing. And then obviously last week we saw what happened. Was you surprised by it?
Yeah. I still am. I'm still in shock.
Yeah. So
I'm still in shock, bro. I mean, look, the people that follow my channel will know that I said I'd started a documentary with TalkSport about this. I'm embarrassed to even talk about it, but I started a documentary. I went to Finchley. I saw AJ. I mean, we had the cameras rolling. Like, we interviewed AJ's cousin, Ben, that got him into boxing. It took him to the Finchley gym for the first time in 2008. We interviewed his trainer, Sean Murphy. Like, we did all this. This is no joke. We did all of this. So for me, the fight was signed. It was done. Then all of a sudden, this happens, and I couldn't believe it. I was in shock, honestly, in shock. And the funny thing is, people have been saying things like, "Oh, you know, like boxing lost." Do you know what I mean? Like, forget whoever side you're on, whether you're an AJ fan or a Fury fan or Eddie Hearn's this and Bob Arum's that. Boxing lost.
Well, the Americans don't seem to think that.
They're crazy. We had an undisputed opportunity, an undisputed fight. We don't get these undisputed. Like, boxing doesn't give us undisputed fights all the time. You know, we had the chance to say, you know what, this guy is numero uno. This is it, number one versus number two, and all of a sudden, this happens. It's a disgrace. It's actually a disgrace. I don't blame Wilder at all, by the way. I blame just boxing. I just blame boxing.
That was going to be my next question, because I don't know what you think, but obviously people were held to account. People were culpable over this and why this has not gone through. And for me, just my personal opinion, you guys in the chat, let me know what you think. If you think I'm chatting rubbish, then let me know. But online, I just thought, like, I'm starting to see a sway of fans starting to move away from Fury, like kind of really putting it on Fury, whether you blame him or not. But I saw a lot of people getting angry over, like, obviously they were agreeing with AJ's outbursts. I saw a lot of people agreeing with that. Fury side, Bob Arum. And I think it's because personally, throughout the whole build-up, they were very negative. Bob Arum, Frank Warren, every time you put a mic in front of them or you had an interview with them, they were very negative about it. I mean, I saw a few...
But Boxing Lowdown, were they negative, or did they know something like this was going on behind the scenes? They always seem to say, Eddie, stop talking. I remember Bob, 100%. I remember an interview where Bob was like, Eddie needs to shut up. And it was like, he's obviously telling Eddie to shut up because he knows behind the scenes, there's still something big happening. And it was like, can Eddie just stop? And even I was getting a bit like, okay, look at Al Heyman. Look at this Manny Pacquiao Spence fight. Now, let's be honest, how much of a shock did that surprise you? Surprised me when that got announced. Just no talking, just fight announced.
Yeah.
Maybe Eddie spoke too much, and Frank's 40 years in the game. Bob is 65 years in the game. These guys aren't silly. If they're telling Eddie stop talking, they're telling Eddie to stop talking because they know there's this court arbitration happening behind the scenes. Yeah. I don't know how you're Eddie Hearn, and this is a fight that's worth over $500 million, and you don't know something like this is happening behind the scenes. This arbitration thing. You don't want to wait until after the arbitration before you start giving dates and making people book tickets to go Saudi. I blame Eddie a bit for this, you know. And you're right, though, by the way. I feel like, don't get me wrong. You're right about the negativity from Bob and Frank, but Eddie almost carried us along this journey knowing that this was going to happen, or knowing that this was happening behind the scenes. Wait until after the arbitration, then talk. Eddie went far too quick with it.
Well, here's a question for you from Mohammed. He's put, I agree with you, Ade, but why did Fury confirm the fight if he knew this was going on? And that's why a lot of people are getting angry at him.
Oh, Fury's a fraud. Oh, don't get me wrong. Fury's a fraud. Like, let's stop the bullshit. Fury is a fraud. If Fury told me it's raining outside, I'd open the curtains to check. Like, there's absolutely nothing about him I trust. Like all that, when he fought Wilder the first time, he said, I'm giving all the money to charity. All that kind of nonsense.
Yeah.
Like I don't know why people jump on to Fury like he's like he's like God.
Nor do I, but I feel like people are jumping off.
They are jumping off now. Because, you know, AJ kind of attacked back for once. AJ is very silent. AJ is not the kind of... AJ finally said, what did he tweeted something like, you're the fraud that I knew you were type thing.
Yeah.
Like
that video didn't help, bro. That video didn't help with my man when...
I spoke to the prince and the fight is on. Nonsense. Absolute nonsense, this kid. Don't get me wrong. I respect him as a fighter because I wouldn't do what they do. Like, I'm not getting in the ring and getting pumped in the face like that. But Fury's just dodgy. Just dodgy, man.
Yeah. And you know what as well? When AJ put that video out, you know, that tweet where he was like, Fury offered him out for a bare knuckle. And then AJ put out that video saying, you don't want it, bro. You were standing
You're not about that life.
Yeah. You're not about that life, bro. And then the thing is, Fury didn't respond to that, man. And Dylan White pulled him up on that as well with that video about him standing behind. I mean, you can't really expect Fury to go in like that. But I think it was the fact that the barrier...
But one second. You can't expect Fury to go in. Do you think that barrier is holding back Dillian White?
Yeah, true.
Do you think that barrier is holding back Derek Chisora? No, really, come on, be honest. Do you think that barrier is holding back Dillian White? There is not a bouncer on earth that if it kicks off is holding back Dillian White and Chisora.
Yeah.
And, you know, Fury pretends he's about that life. Not everyone does that. Like, AJ is not about that life. AJ is not going to jump over and fight either. But AJ doesn't pretend he is. You know what I mean? Fury, I'm telling you, he's lost, like, what's this say? Lost a lot of credit. He's lost a lot of credit.
Yeah, a lot of people saying that.
Lost a lot of credit, man. You know, he's just
started to see that. Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
And he has with me as well. I'm not being around the bush here. He's lost a lot with me, to be fair.
Yeah.
And like,
look, I've always said that AJ would look, and this is the funny thing, right? Because obviously I'm a big AJ fan, but every time people ask me about the fight, I say I think Fury beats AJ. And so I'm not gonna change my mind on that because there is something about Fury that I feel like has the style to cause AJ some severe problems. But in terms of my respect for Fury, zero.
Yeah.
Zero. I think he just chats a lot of shit.
Yeah.
Honestly, chats a lot of shit. It's almost very akin to the shit that Billy Joe Saunders chats. Like, chats a lot of shit. Like what Billy Joe Saunders said about Daniel Dubois and then how his fight ended with Canelo.
Yeah.
Nonsense, all of them. And it's funny, it's difficult for me to say all these things because I see these guys, I've got to interview them. But sometimes, you got to be honest with yourself. These guys sometimes chat a lot of shit.
You know what, Ade, yeah? This is why I remember when I first started out this channel, yeah? And I was like debating which way to go. Because, you know, there's two ways. We could be either like us, where we talk our shit on here, or you could be like, and no disrespect to anybody that goes out there and reports, you know, you do a fantastic job. But for me personally, I went one day and I saw what it was like. I was in the room and I think it was at the Khan and Crawford presser in London that time. I was just like, this ain't for me, man. Like, you're running around after these guys and like, they act like they don't want to talk to you for one thing. I'm not saying everybody, but they act like they don't want to talk to you. Then when you do talk to them, you got to watch what you say because, you know, you don't want to say the wrong thing. You don't want to offend them. And for me, as a man, me personally, I just think to myself, nah, man, I'm not that guy to do that. Like, I've just got too much pride for that.
It's very difficult. It's very difficult.
I see some of these reporters, man, like, look, Raja Raheem and Ellie Setback and those type of guys, they run after the guys, the people disrespect them. And I'm just like, yo, man, I can't do that personally. I'd rather just say how I feel and keep it like that.
Fact. And look, that's why it's like, obviously I do my thing from the green chair, but it's quite difficult for me because obviously I've got my own boxing show on Talk Sport. So we have to get these guests on. My producer goes out and gets these guests. So I can't be as raggo, let me use an old school word, as I was before. Right? Before I used to say absolutely anything.
Oh, no.
You remember? Like anything, you know, but then like it's weird. Obviously, I remember I was chatting shit about Dillian White, then I've got to go and interview him a couple of weeks later. I was like, oh shit. So I've had to simmer down a little bit, but sometimes it boils my blood when these boxers just chat shit and they get away with it. You know what I mean? That's why I am a big fan of Boxing Social, what Rob Tebbett does. Rob Tebbett will ask the tough questions. And you probably don't notice it, but Rob Tebbett isn't at all the boxing shows because they don't want him there because Rob Tebbett asks questions they don't want to hear.
Yeah.
But it is difficult, man. It's very difficult. But some of these boxers chat shit. Like, it's like, what the hell? Stop it. Stop chatting shit. You're gonna get you know, because we will talk about it, and I will anyway. I don't give a fuck.
Did you ever was that ever on the radar for you to do did that ever cross your mind? Let me do this full time, go out there and stick a mic in front of them and get interviews that way? Like, was that ever for you, or was this always your way?
No. At the very, very beginning, that was definitely for me because, and again, this is no disrespect to anyone does it, but for me, that was the easiest way to grow my channel. you get subscribers if you go out there and do your shit. If I go out there and interview AJ and Tyson, the channel's going to grow. If I sit here and talk by myself, I knew it was going to be a long burner. It's going to be hard to get kind of what I wanted to get. But I remember doing a few interviews and I remember thinking, I can't say okay, let me give you a good example. I remember interviewing Frank Warren. And I remember talking to Frank about Daniel Dubois. So it was Frank, it was Daniel Dubois, it was Daniel Dubois' dad, Daniel Dubois' sister Caroline, and Daniel Dubois' manager. I'm interviewing Frank, and I'm like, what next for Daniel Dubois, Frank? This is about a year and a bit ago. I said, where do you think he is, Frank? Top 20, top 30 right now, Dubois? Frank said top 10. Inside, I'm laughing. So I'm laughing because I'm holding the camera like that, and I'm thinking, there's no way Daniel Dubois is top 10. But I can't say what I want to say because Dubois is right there, his dad's right there, his sister's right there. But I said, Frank, top 10, Frank. He was like, yeah, of course he's top 10. And I'm like, okay, this is difficult. I'm not doing this again. Just because, like, whereas we all know Daniel Dubois is not top 10.
Yeah.
Frank even really knows that Daniel Dubois is not top 10. But I can't say it. So I thought, I'm not doing this job anymore. I'd rather just sit on my green chair. So fuck it. We're on the green chair. And the green chair is now famous. Fuck him.
Green chair is very famous, bro. Every time I hear that, when you tweet, is it time to get out of the green chair? People are like, right, okay, here we go.
Yeah, here we go.
About to go off. So,
bro, I wish I could be old school Addy though. Old school Addy was incredible.
It must you must be like, I really want to say this. I really want, but you just can't now.
Bro. Especially now that I kind of know some stories in boxing. Like before, I didn't know what I know now. So I'm around more people that have got way more knowledge than me. So I hear some of the stories. I'm like, and they look at me like, Ade, don't go to the green chair. I'm like, I'm not going to the green chair. But I hear some of the stuff. I'm like, you are kidding me. About drug testing, about this, about that. So, old school me would have made a video. But then you've got to be careful, right? Like even you in this, you want to turn it into something big and you don't want doors to shut on you like that. You do eventually want to go and get accreditation to go to some of the big fights. So there's no point trying to burn down the industry that we love.
I can't get my tie and booth on then, no?
No, don't do that. Do not do that. Like T and Booth is doing well, but I mean, I wouldn't go down that route that he's doing. And plus, I don't even know if it's even real. Like, I don't. Is he acting with it? I don't know. Sometimes I still don't understand the T and Booth thing. If I'm honest with you, good luck to him, but it's a bit strange for me, all that stuff.
Let's talk about Fury and Wilder, man, because that's obviously looking like that's going to happen next. July 24th, I believe the date is. And again, some of the comments were, like this looked like it was penned in from before. Now, obviously, if you look at it from Bob Arum's point of view, first of all, I'm sure that everybody has a backup plan regardless. I mean, you'd be silly not to. Bob Arum's been in the game for 60 plus years, like you said. So, of course, that was always going to be an option. But was you a bit, that they had that there on the radar, July 24th is all suddenly booked. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. What did you think of that? And what do you think of Fury Wilder 3? Do you think, like, I'm seeing comments here, what if Wilder wins? I don't think it's as, I was a lot more confident in Fury dominating Wilder as he did in the second fight a year ago. But I'm not saying that Wilder wins, but, what do you think of this? I mean, we've seen the training clips of Wilder. We've seen Malik Scott come out and saying no amount of step aside money would stop us from taking this. Can you see the third fight being any different? Do you think that Wilder has a more of a chance now? Or are you still saying no chance against Fury?
No chance. No chance.
Well, no chance, no?
What have we seen? When you say training clips, I've seen a couple of about 20 seconds of him hitting pads.
Yeah.
I've not seen training clips. This isn't a Rocky movie. I've seen him hit the pads. That 1-2 is what he's always does. So we've not seen any fast combinations. I haven't seen like any ducks and hooks. I've just seen that 1-2. He's got that 1-2. We know that 1-2 is lethal. But Fury's got way more than the 1-2. Right? Yeah. Like, as much as we've just dissed Fury, Fury's legit, Yeah. Like, there's something special about Fury. I've met Fury. Fury's 6'8", 19, 20 stone. He should not be moving around like a 12-stone man. He moves around like a 12-stone. It's actually incredible. So, like, for me, no, I don't see Wilder causing Fury much problem. Yes, he's got the big right hand. We know that. Fury's been hit by that big right hand, and Fury's got up a couple of times. So, Wilder needs a lot more than that. Wilder just isn't a good boxer. And that's what it is at the end of the day. This is called boxing. And you've got to go with who's the better boxer. And I'm going with Fury. Plus, Fury knows he can hurt Wilder as well now. Something none of us expected. So I'm going with Fury to win it again. Would it go points? Possibly. Would it be stopped? Possibly. But I can't see Wilder beating Fury. I really can't. Like mentally, I don't know how Wilder is now after that defeat. Wilder thought he couldn't be beat by any man, and he got humbled by that man to so much extent that he made about 20 excuses up. Like, I've never heard so many excuses in my life. So mentally, where is he? I think Malik Scott's a good matchup for him. I think it works well. Malik Scott's a legit guy, right? But nah, what Fury's gonna do him again. I'm convinced of it.
I think for me, Fury can defeat. It'll be Fury defeating himself in terms of like his motivation. Will he be going in there thinking, "Yo, man, I really, I beat this guy twice. I know what to do third time." He's gone off the rails before. Maybe he might be overconfident going into this one. That's how I could see kind of if he sleepwalks into a right hand, so to speak. Maybe that might be the sort of thing where Wilder could win. But I will say, Ade, that I do like what Wilder's saying. Like, he's not said a lot, to be fair, but I do like, he's pushed this, and he's obviously really wants this. He is going out there looking to kill. Let's be honest, the way how he's talking. Yeah. And can we really discount him landing that right hand on Fury? Well, he's done it before.
He has done it before, and he still lost.
Yeah.
He fought the worst version of Tyson Fury when Tyson Fury came off that Sefer Seferi win and the Pianetta win. That's the worst version of Fury we've ever seen, if I'm honest with you. And Fury was still able to beat him. Although it was a draw, Fury beat him. Fury beat him in that fight, and Fury got up twice. He then fought the better version of Fury, and Fury stopped him. Right? They threw the towel in. It was getting embarrassing. Mm-hmm. This Fury right now looks lean. He looks chiseled. He looks ready to go. Don't be fooled by him going to a couple of parties in Miami. I spoke to Tom Gray, managing editor of Ring Magazine. He spoke to Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury is ready to go. He's ready to go. So Fury's going to do him again. He's even with Malik Scott. And look, I like Malik Scott. Malik Scott is one of those guys that are in everyone's camp. Yeah, he's Instagram crazy, isn't it? It was crazy. Always smoking crazy girls around him. But Malik Scott's not an elite trainer. Do you know what I mean? And Malik Scott's a great guy, good former heavyweight guy himself, but he's not an elite trainer. You don't get rid of Breland and replace him with Malik Scott and think that's an improvement. That's a downgrade. It's a big downgrade as well. So I don't see what Wilder's got, if I'm honest with you, apart from, like everyone keeps saying, this big right hand. Fury's got a right hand as well, Yeah. And it's a big right hand as well when you're 20 stone. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see, man. I'll tell you what, like, I reckon the build-up's going to be, the build-up's going to make me like, I need to, all of a sudden, we're just all going to, everyone here is going to forget about the two fights for a minute and just be soaked up in the build-up for this fight. And like, when the first bell comes, we're going to be on the edge of our seats.
Bruv, this is what makes me laugh. Everyone's like, it's fucking bullshit. I ain't going to, bruv, everyone's watching it.
Yeah.
That fight, that build-up is going to be so evil and dark because of how it worked. Bruh, that is going to be madness. It's going to do great numbers again. And in America, it's weird. Like, obviously, look, we live in a world which is very divided by race, right? Let's be honest. But in America, it's even more so with this Fury Wilder thing. It's very much like, it's almost brought out the worst in people when it comes to race. Like, I've seen a lot of the Wilder fans, and they're very angry that their guy got beat by a white guy, and it's a bit. So that's what I'm trying to say. The build-up's very, very nasty and dark. Which, look, the promoters are going to love, but I feel like it's a bit too much, and I don't like it. Again, over here, it's not so much like that. In America, it seems to be very much like that. Like, I remember the build-up for Loma Teofimo, and it was very, very much like that. So it's going to be even worse for Fury versus Wilder.
Yeah, I mean, the demographics over there compared to here, obviously in terms of race and the sort of issues that goes on. I know it's different over there, but I just think, that's just commonly used as a selling tool to market fights. And that's definitely going to be, it's definitely going to be, let's be real, man. It's definitely going to play that again. The white versus black thing.
Of course, I remember a broadcaster asking Tyson Fury about that. Like, that would never happen over here. I remember, and Tyson Fury shutting it down like, this isn't about black versus white. We're both fighters, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, they're gonna play on it even more. It's sad, but they'll do anything to sell fights.
Yeah.
Anything. They'll even play on the fact that Wilder said Fury cheated, and they're going to play on everything they can in order to sell this fight and make as much money as possible. And in the end, the fighters ain't going to care because they get more money as well.
Yeah, they'll get the bag.
They'll get the bag. They'll get the bag, indeed.
What about AJ then? I mean, if you're AJ, man, I mean, you've been gearing up for this Fury fight. He's been looking fantastic in the gym, bro. This was the fight like they thought it was going to happen, and now it's not happening for now anyway, at least. Usyk is looking like it could be a potential, or maybe not, after some of the reports I've been seeing the last couple of days. Do you know anything more about that? You got any inside knowledge on that you could share with us? Maybe is that going to happen now, or do you think AJ will give up the belt? What's your intuition?
Intuition says AJ doesn't give up the belt, right? I mean, if AJ gives up the belt, then that undisputed fight against Wilder or Fury is done, because obviously Usyk will go his own way, and then that belt goes wherever it needs to go. Look, AJ must be questioning a lot of things right now. Like, he was supposed to come on TalkSport today, didn't want to come on. He said he's going to come on next week. He's obviously clearly upset. The fact is, he wants these big fights. You know, me speaking to him in Finchley, he wants big fights. And his promoter, say what you want, it's not his fault. It's his fault. His promoter has not been able to deliver him Wilder or Fury net. So
he's asking you this question, by the way. He's been asking quite a lot of time. Craig Paul, shout out to Craig Paul, but he keeps saying, I mean, sure, Eddie has got AJ.
Eddie, why can't AJ get the big fight? He's got him big fights. Let's not. This is the problem with us right now, I guess. Anything below Fury and Wilder, we're considering sea level. It's not, right? I mean, he's had some big fights: Wembley Stadium, Principality Stadium, Saudi Arabia. He's made in some big fights, and AJ will tell you that Eddie's made him a lot of money. But we have to be honest, the two big fights in the last couple of years, Deontay Wilder, that's fallen through for whatever reason, and now Fury's fallen through. So Craig's right. Like, why can't Eddie get these fights? I'm not sure, if I'm honest with you. I'm not sure. Look, AJ's only got one fight left with Matchroom and one fight left with Sky. Could AJ be tempted to go and sign with Al Heyman or Bob Arum to make these fights 110%? Could he be tempted? I don't know. Honestly, well, I guess we'll soon find out. But I don't know, man. AJ is very, very disappointed right now. I can tell you that.
Yeah,
he doesn't want to fight Usyk, and he doesn't want to fight Dillian White. Not because he's scared, because I think he runs through both of them. But he wants to be in the biggest fights, win or lose. He wants to be in fights that people remember. People are not going to remember Pulev. People are not going to remember those kind of fights against Joseph Parker. Then people just aren't going to remember them. They're going to remember Wilder Fury. That's it.
Yeah. A big shout out to my guy Big T in the building. What's going on, bro? He's put here, if the other two have made a pact to not fight him, it's not Eddie's fault. I hear what you're saying. AJ, though, I was going to ask you how much of a banana skin is Usyk, but you don't seem to think that it's that much of a banana skin. You haven't been impressed with him at heavyweight. I certainly haven't, not yet. I know what he's about. I know what he can do as a cruiserweight. I know he fought as a heavyweight in the amateurs, but so far in the pros as a heavyweight, he hasn't really impressed me. He didn't impress me against the Witherspoon guy. Didn't impress me against Chisora, really. I mean, a lot of people seem to think that this is a big banana skin for AJ, but I ain't seen it yet. I haven't seen it yet.
No, nor have I. Look, I'm a big fan of Usyk, but being a big fan means I've watched every single one of his fights, and I go back and watch the Michael Hunter fight. Michael Hunter caused him problems as a cruiserweight. Bradis was a close fight. I think the thing is, for a lot of British fight fans or casual boxing fans, maybe they've only started watching Usyk in and around the World Boxing Super Series when he beat Pulev and beat Bellew, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, this guy is incredible." Heavyweight's a whole different ballgame. Like, cruiserweight's one thing, heavyweight's a completely different ballgame, and not just heavyweight, but super heavyweights. AJ, Fury, them man are super heavyweights. They're not normal sized human beings. AJ can hit like a truck. Usyk's good, don't get me wrong, but I expect AJ to run through him. Honestly, I'm not even like, I like Usyk, but I expect AJ to run through that man. Won't be easy. He'll come through some sticky patches, but as soon as AJ lands one clean, Usyk won't know what's hit him, because it'll be an 18-stone man as opposed to a cruiserweight guy hitting him, and it's a whole different ball game being hit by those big boys. Whole different ball game. So we'll see how it gets on.
You know what, as well, Usyk is not that. He's not that elusive. He can get tagged. He got tagged plenty of times against Chisora. You know,
And he's not young.
Mm.
He's not young. He's not super active either. He's now starting to get injuries in his career. I think we forget that when he fought Bellew, he didn't fight for like a year and a half before he fought Witherspoon. He gets his injuries. So look, he only wants a big money fight. That's all he wants anymore. So I don't know.
Yeah. Conrad has said here, AJ hasn't faced anyone who can box like Usyk, not even close. He did.
I would counter that by saying that Usyk hasn't fought anyone as powerful as AJ.
Yeah.
He hasn't fought anyone that can hit as hard as AJ. So yeah, he's right. Conrad is probably right. Especially in the pros, in the amateurs, obviously AJ did fight some slick guys, but in the pros, as Usyk fought anyone that can hit like that, like nah, no. So it goes both ways. Look, it's a good fight, but I just feel like having watched him against Chisora now, I kind of see how AJ could put him away.
Yeah, big up Craig Paul here. He's put big up Boxing Lowdown, enjoying this, and big fan of Ade. He always delivers. Shout out to all of you guys in the chat, man. I appreciate your comments coming through, man. Like I said, Laurie will be back on tomorrow, but we just thought, fuck it, man. Get Ade on here.
Let's
man.
Talk. This is it. Let's talk, and that's what boxing's about. Look, there's so many different subjects, so many different ways this can go. Like, we've not even touched on the fact that Manny Pacquiao's fighting Errol Spence. Like, what the fuck?
Oh, Jesus Christ, let's get into that, man. Jeez,
there's loads, bro. You know what I mean?
I forgot about that. Let's talk about that.
The senator's taking the suit off and putting the gloves up.
You know what? Yeah, I mean, I was thinking at the time, I went live when that news broke, and you know, it literally
didn't miss a beat, did you?
I was talking about the weigh-in to people like, did you see Josh Taylor and Ramirez at that weigh-in? Did you see Josh Taylor getting into a scuffle with, you know, all of those guys? And then all of a sudden, literally, I just see Manny Pacquiao just uploads a photo on Instagram. We're just like, what? Like,
and that's what's crazy about it, bro, is the fact that there was no talk about it. I mean, there was talk about Crawford versus Manny Pacquiao. You know, was kind of thinking, okay, what's Spence doing? Nothing. And then all of a sudden, just a photo. That's it. Fight done. No talk, no hype. Arguably, top 3 biggest fights that could be made or that has been made this year, just announced like that.
Yeah.
And that's almost a lesson to Eddie Hearn. Just announce the fight. I guess the problem for Eddie Hearn, I don't mean to be disrespectful to him because I think he's a very good promoter. Problem is, Eddie, everywhere he goes, there's mic shoved in his face. Eddie, what's going on? Announce. And sometimes I feel like if there was no IFL TV or any of these boxing channels, he would just keep quiet. But because there's always a mic in his face, he feels like he's got to say something all the time, and that's his problem. But yeah, crazy that Manny Pacquiao, who won his first world title in 1998, blood,
a lot of these
is
guys
fighting.
Born.
It's mad. A lot of these fighters weren't born. Is now fighting for another world title against someone that. Okay, this is how crazy it is. Yeah. His own era. So fighters from his era are having exhibition fights. Miguel Cotto is lined up to fight Marquez. That's Pac-Man's era in an exhibition fight. You know what I mean? Barrera is fighting Morales in an exhibition fight. Floyd is fighting Logan Paul. Manny Pacquiao is fighting Errol Spence. Doesn't even make sense.
After 2 years out. After 2 years out at 42 years old.
It doesn't matter. As long as he's on the good stuff, and we know Pac-Man likes the good stuff. As long as he's on the good stuff, he's got a chance.
Here's a question, man. Shout out to a guy called Henry. What's going on, bro? He's put here, big up, gents. If Manny wins, he's the GOAT. I'm not having anything else. Are you having that?
It's a tough one, man. I said there's an argument. And look, I have to put my hands up and say I'm not Spencer Fearon. My knowledge doesn't go back to start talking about guys that fought in 1920s and fought for 40 rounds, 177 wins, 10 losses. I can't give you that information right now. But what I can tell you is that he's in the conversation.
Yeah.
Because to me, he's already a top 10. This is a guy that's an 8-weight world champion, 5 lineal. And if those of you that are watching don't know what lineal means, it means you beat the man who was the man in the division. So there's 5 times he's beat the man. That's incredible. 8-weight world champion. His first world title was at flyweight. For those of you that understand, Sonny Edwards recently fought at flyweight. Imagine Sonny Edwards beating guys up at 154 pounds. That's what Manny Pacquiao was done. Imagine Sonny Edwards eventually fighting Jamel Charlo. Understand what Manny Pacquiao has done, people. It doesn't make sense. So look, he's in the conversation. Whether or not he's the GOAT, I don't know. The Sugar Ray Robinson, the likes of Archie Moore. There's so many fighters that have fought, Julio Cesar Chavez, over 100 fights. It's crazy. So I don't know, but it's a madness. What he's even trying to do is a madness.
DS here in the chat. What's going on, brother? He's put here, Manny is a bad man, but I think Spence stops him in 6.
No, not having it. Not having it. No,
I was going to say, what's your thoughts on it? How do you see it?
No, this fight goes points. Hey, Spence, Pacquiao's a bad man, Everyone thought that Furman was going to stop Pac-Man. Right? What Pac-Man brings to the ring is
Pacquiao, of course.
Yeah. I mean, Spence couldn't get rid of Mikey. And Mikey was coming up from a lower weight class. Spence couldn't get rid of him. Spence hit that man with everything. So, look, I think Spence wins, but I don't think he's stopped. I'm not sure that stops Pacquiao. Yeah. But Pac-Man could cause Spence some problems, But look, Spence should win. Look, the fact that we're even suggesting that Pac-Man has a chance shows how great Pac-Man is. Spence should win for sure, because Spence is the unbeaten, younger, bigger, stronger, hungrier fighter. But Pac-Man's a special fighter for a reason.
Yes, I was just going into year 8. That's how real it is. He's a grown man that's tweeting this right now. He was going into year 8 in 1998. That's the longevity.
I was second year in college.
Yeah,
I didn't even know about this guy called Manny Pacquiao. Second year in college. I mean, again, it's incredible what he's doing, and more credit to him. I mean, it's not like this guy is doing it for voluntary reasons. He's getting paid. He's going to get paid some nice money. But the fact is, there are easier options out there, and he's chose to go for what a lot of people think is the number one at 147 pounds. It's crazy. Credit to him.
Credit to him, man. And for me, he loses nothing in this fight. I mean, obviously, hopefully he doesn't get a beat down, but in terms of his legacy, whether he wins or not, man, if he wins, then we're going to have that conversation. But if he loses, look, I can't take anything away from him. And I do have him losing. I can't see him defeating Errol Spence, man. Too young, too big, too strong, too...
Errol Spence has bad feet, though. I mean, in terms of he's a bit flat-footed. Yeah. Pac-Man's in and out. Like, Pac-Man's still got some speed. Like, he's still got some speed. Obviously, not that kind of speed, but Spence flat-footed, man. Yeah. I mean,
Could you see it?
Oh, no. If not there does, no, I can't. I just want him to go 12. I want him to cause Spence some problems and go 12. That would be a victory for me.
Yeah.
I just don't want him to get hurt. Like, I don't want that. I don't want a knockout or a knockdown. Just go 12, get your check, go home to your wife and kids, and enjoy retirement and try and become the president of the Philippines. That's my dream for Manny Pacquiao.
4 years to the day, actually, May 27th today. 4 years to the day, I found out today that Errol Spence, he came over to Sheffield and defeated Kell Brook, man, and took the IBF belt. That was 4 years ago today, man. So crazy. Yeah, look where he's at now. So
crazy. Honestly, crazy. They fucked up Kell Brook, man. Kell Brook, like, I don't want to get into it, but the idea of Kell Brook being... Think about this for a second. Sorry. I know we've been going on for a long time now.
We're good.
Kell Brook was unbeaten, IBF champion. There were so many guys in and around the 147-pound division. So many. Someone thought it was a good idea to put him in with Gennady Golovkin. Unbeaten middleweight wrecking machine.
Monster.
Like, who is around the table and says, I know what, GGG? Who decides this? Like, everyone was avoiding GG. That's the time when Danny Jacobs said no. Miguel Cotto was like, Canelo threw a belt away, but they thought that Kell Brook was going to jump up 2 weight classes and beat him. And that was the end of Kell Brook. That was it. That was the end. Whoever did it ruined Kell Brook. Maybe he ruined himself, but whoever decided that was a good idea deserves to be shot. Like, out there, old school shooting.
Yeah.
Like, line him up against a wall. Turn around. He does it. Because it ruined Kell Brook's career. And then he went back down to 147 and tried to take on Spence. Stupid.
Yeah. I remember at the time, there was a lot of people, I mean, because Spence at that time, I mean, I knew how good he was, because he was my favorite fighter back then. I knew how good he was going to be. But back then, the people were like, nah, man, Brook's got this. But Spence was always a threat. And obviously it proved on the night.
Yeah, always. I mean, coming down, again, look, Brook always has trouble making weight because he's such a big guy. He doesn't live the life. The idea of him having a broken orbital bone, losing his O, and then try and come down to 147 to take on an unbeaten kid called Errol Spence. It was never going to work out for him at all.
Yeah. Well, listen, Ade, we're an hour in. And before you go, because obviously I know we've got to enjoy the rest of the evening, but you came on here on short notice as well. So big up you, man, again.
Come on, brother. I always say this, even on my channel. I always mention other channels, like, come on, guys, support other channels. Like, you know, me and you and Kojo have gone for like drinks and talked about how we're all going to grow this stuff. And I think one of the things was get you guys, like, I always promised, okay, I'm either going to jump on yours or get you guys on mine. You've been on mine. I've got you on Talk Sport. I've jumped on Kojo's, got Kojo on. That's the only way it works. We all support each other and grow this thing. The idea of me just trying to do my own thing just doesn't make sense to me. I want to push and help people as much as possible. So when I saw that I could jump on, I was like, God, of course I'm jumping on. It's either that or I find some bullshit to watch on Netflix. I thought, fuck that.
Before you go put Netflix on, man, let me just get your thoughts quickly on obviously this weekend before we sign out, man. Devin Haney against Jorge Linares. Are you looking forward to that fight? Because some people on my Instagram polls and stuff like that, they're kind of like, whatever, man. But is that just a boxing fan being spoiled, or are we looking at like, nah, man, this is, you know, Devin Haney's toughest test, and you know, let's see how he takes on this step up, or is Linares for you just, you know, like really on the way down now?
He's definitely on the way down. There's no two ways about it. I mean, I was at the O2 Arena for Linares versus Kevin Mitchell. And I actually thought he was almost on the way down then, but he's put on some really good performances since then. I mean, I thought he put on a good performance against Luke Campbell, and he really put on a good performance against Loma. But the fact is, although he's on his way down, he's still the biggest name on Devin Haney's resume. I mean, this is the Devin Haney that really and truly, if you want to be very critical, has only fought an old Gamboa. He hasn't fought much. And Devin Haney needs to do something in order to... All the other so-called big guys around him have all done stuff. Ryan Garcia got off the deck to beat Luke Campbell. Javonte Davis went down to 130 and smoked Leo Santa Cruz. Teofimo beat Loma. He needs to make a statement. Whether or not it's a statement beating an old Linares, who is going to struggle to make 135 pounds, is another thing altogether. But I just feel like I like the fight. I think Linares still has something to offer, but this still won't answer the questions that I need answering from Devin at all. There are other guys that, like, I would even get more questions answered against Richard Comey, if I'm honest with you. I know Richard Comey got smashed by Lopez, but those kind of fighters, Linares is old now. Linares has been around for a long, long time.
How old is he?
What, real age or fake age?
let's try the real age.
I think he's about 35, which, look, might not sound old, but if you're cutting down, look, whoever's on this right now, I guarantee none of us are weighing 135 pounds. Like, the idea of trying to cut weight, me and you definitely ain't weighing 135. we're closer to that 200 and over pounds. So, like, the idea of trying to cut weight to 135 pounds as you get older is a problem. That's why he went up to 140. And now he's only come back down for this because it's a money fight. So look, Devin Haney should win, but I'm not sold on Haney at all.
You're not?
No, not at all. No, he hasn't done anything yet.
Do you know, for me, I don't know what you guys in the chat think, but the eye test for me, when I watch Devin Haney, I'm just like, okay, I know he hasn't had that significant fight yet, and I hope it does come. But on the eye test, when I watch him, I'm just like, this guy, he may have a higher ceiling. I could be wrong, but I just look at him and think, this guy, we ain't seen him under adversity yet. Yeah. We don't know how well he could take like a solid punch from a world-class fighter yet. But just from what I see, I do like what I see. I'm
of
sure
course,
you do too.
No. You know what it is? I've been burnt like that before, if I'm honest with you. I've been burnt by Andre Berto. I mean, Andre Berto passed every single... I had the fucking binoculars out, but Berto, he passed every eye test possible. And then when he took that step up against Galazzo, I was like, oh, he ain't that good. And this is no disrespect to Berto. He became a world champion. Adrian Broner. Adrian Broner passed every... I remember people saying Adrian Broner could be the man to defeat Floyd.
Yeah.
I remember even Adrian Broner saying, I don't want to fight my big brother because I don't want to give him an L. So he was on that bandwagon. And now you look at Broner and you think, yeah. So Devin needs to pass more than the eye test for me. Devin needs to pass a test. Not the eye test, a test. And those tests are going to come against Teofimo, Ryan, and Javonte, or maybe even Loma. Loma's still around at 135. He's got a fight in, 2 months? So I need to see more than the eye test. And again, some questions will be answered against Linares, just not all the questions.
To be fair, I think Haney wants it. From what I see, unless it's all smoke, I do. Because some fighters talk, and I'm just like, nah, man, he's not serious, man. Like, he don't want that. Like, when Ryan Garcia was doing all that talk about, I know he's going through his stuff now, and I hope he obviously gets better and stuff. But at the time, when he was calling out Gervonta, I was like, I knew that Gervonta fight weren't happening. But with Devin Haney, I do think that he wants it.
He wants it. No, he definitely wants it. You're not wrong. There's 2 reasons why he wants it. Number 1, youthful exuberance. Every young fighter unbeaten wants it. He goes into the barbershops. But look, he's a black guy in America. He goes into the barbershops and they'll be like, yo, you ain't fought. He knows what people are saying behind his back. He definitely wants it. Number 1, that's it. Youthful exuberance. Number 2, like, the big fights equal big money. I mean, I remember he was doing his live and Gervonta Davis came through to his live. And them men were going back and forth about how much they get paid. Like, he definitely wants it but there's a difference between wanting it and actually handling it when it comes. Those other guys have handled it.
Yeah.
Let's see if he can. Teofimo has handled his business against Loma. Handled.
Yeah.
Ryan Garcia got off the floor against Luke. Gervonta went down to 130 against Leo Santa Cruz. They've done their stuff. It's up to Devin to do his now.
Totally agree with you, man. And listen, Ade, going to wrap it there, but just give me your prediction before we go and before I thank everybody in the chat. How do you see this? Do you see Devin Haney? I'm guessing you're predicting Devin Haney to win this on points or knockout, maybe? What do you reckon?
Yeah, I'm thinking late stoppage, maybe sort of championship rounds, 10 to 12. I expect him to put it, put it on, pedal to the metal. He's the younger kid. He's got, he's the bigger, naturally bigger guy, I think. He's younger, he's hungrier. I think he'll get rid of Linares sort of 10 to 12, but I think Linares will cause him problems. Linares is so sharp with his punches and has been in there against the best and has never looked out of place in there against the best either. So I think Linares will cause him problems, but I expect Devin to get this done sort of 10 to 12.
Totally agree, brother. And listen, Ade, man, I just want to thank you again for coming on, bro. You guys, I know those of you that were expecting the podcast today, that will be on tomorrow, 7 till 8 o'clock. I'll have Laurie on. But listen, man, we've had a great person here to talk with us, and I'm sure a lot of you could have stayed a lot longer. But listen, I need to eat, bro. I'm not going to go lie to you. So,
man, we just talked about making 135 pounds. You're talking about eating.
Bro, when was the last time when can you think you was 130? It must have been in school, bro.
School. Yeah. Last year of school. Not even that. No. When I was born, there was 135 pounds. Doesn't ever make sense to me.
Yeah,
don't ever make sense.
That's it, man. But listen, Ade, bro, I appreciate you coming on. Thank you to everybody in the chat, man. Much appreciated, man. Enough love to you all. And don't forget, if you haven't already, click that like button on the way out, man. Share the video, subscribe to the channel, and you'll be getting more lives like this. Ade, I need to get you back on.
Yeah, bruv, you know it is. I mean, obviously this one was for free. Next time I'm charging. Now it is. No, look, bruv, anytime I'm coming, of course, we're family, bruv. Anytime you need me, 100% I'm coming on. Yeah, big up, man. Enough respect. And again, thank you to everybody in the chat. And listen, I'll be back tomorrow. Don't forget to go over to Ade's channel, man. Always bringing in that heat. And I'm looking forward to your next live stream, bro. And guys, we'll catch up with you guys soon, man. Peace out.